If the Australian Grand Prix was a seismic warning, Shanghai is where the tectonic plates of the 2026 era will officially shift. We are approaching the first sprint weekend of this new technical cycle, a format that offers zero room for error and maximum rewards for those who understand their energy maps. The Shanghai International Circuit isn't just a racetrack, it is a 5.4 kilometers engineering paradox. You have the snail turn in Sector 1 that punishes the front left tire with surgical precision, contrasted against a 1.2 kilometer backstraight that acts as a drag strip for these new controversial power units. This weekend is the ultimate truth teller. We will finally see if Ferrari's Macarena Aero can bridge the 7 km/h gap to the Mercedes loophole engine, or if Brackley's qualifying dominance is actually a permanent fixture of this decade. Everything changes on that 1.2 km straight. It's Ferrari's new Aero versus Mercedes' power engine. Here's my full prediction for China. Drop your thoughts in the comments. The technical bottleneck for the weekend is the front-limited nature of the circuit. In 2006, with reduced ground effect downforce, the cars are more pitch-sensitive. If you trim the wing to survive the back straight, you'll wash out in the technical midsector. My predictions for the Saturday sprint are based on the short burst capability of the Ferrari PU versus the high-stress thermal limits of the Mercedes. In a 60 km dash, you don't manage the car, you charge. I'm backing Charles Leclerc to take the first sprint victory of the 2026 era. From a technical standpoint, the small turbo philosophy of the Ferrari SF26 is perfectly calibrated for the sprint format. Because the race distance is only 18-19 laps, Leclerc can run a more aggressive battery deployment map without the same fear of a thermal derate that you'd have over a full Grand Prix. I expect Charles to mug the Mercedes off the line, take the lead into Turn 1, and then use the superior mechanical grip of the Ferrari in the technical Sector 2 to break the DRS. If he's out of the 1-second window by the time he hits the back straight, the Mercedes' top speed advantage becomes irrelevant. Charles is a specialist in this high-intensity format, and his P1 is a logical extension of Ferrari's low-end torque superiority. 2. Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton takes P2, securing a Saturday red wash for Maranello. My analysis shows that Hamilton is already mastering the Macarena wing's actuation timing. In the sprint, where energy recovery is a zero-sum game, Lewis will likely use a harvest-heavy first sector to ensure he has 100% MGUK deployment for the backstraight defense. I don't see him attacking, I see him acting as the tactical shield. Lewis knows that a Ferrari 1-2 in the sprint sends a psychological shockwave through the Mercedes garage. His P2 will be a result of pure bandwidth management, managing the active aero and the battery better than the younger drivers behind him. 3. George Russell. George Russell finishes P3. The Mercedes W7 is undeniably the fastest car in clean air, but the sprint format exposes its thermal ceiling. If Russell loses the lead at the start, which I predict he will, he'll be trapped in the dirty air of the Ferraris. In 2000-2006, following another car causes the MGUK and battery temperatures to spike within 3 laps. George will have to throttle back his energy deployment to prevent a high-pressure MGUK blowout, especially on a circuit with a straight as long as Shanghai's. He'll have the top speed to stay close, but not the aero stability to make a move. He'll settle for P3, frustrated by the Ferrari rocket start. 4. Andrea Kimi Antonelli. P4 goes to Kimi Antonelli. The rookie is incredibly fast, but Shanghai is a thinker's circuit. In a sprint, you have to decide in a split second whether to harvest or deploy through the high-speed chicane. I expect Kimi to show flashes of being the fastest man on track, but he'll likely over-deploy in the middle of the race, leaving him clipping and losing power at the end of the back straight in the final 2 laps. It's a classic rookie error in this new era. He'll finish 4th, showing well. The W17 has the pace, but this proves that the 2026 veteran bandwidth still carries a premium. 5. Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen takes P5. Realistically, the Red Bull Ford PU is currently the 3rd best unit on the grid. Max will be a hero in Sector 1, using the RB22's superior aerobalance to carry more speed through the snail, but he will be a sitting duck on the straight. Telemetry suggests the Red Bull unit derates nearly 150 meters earlier than the Mercedes. Max will be playing a defensive masterpiece, but you can't defend against a 7 km/h deficit forever. He'll bag the points, but his post-race radio will likely be a technical critique of the Milton Keynes development path. Completing the Saturday points, Lando Norris, P6, will lead the McLaren charge, followed by Isaac Hadjar, P7, who will benefit from Red Bull's high-speed stability. Oscar Piastri, P8, takes the final point, while Oliver Behrman, P9, and Arvid Lindblad, P10, show that the Ferrari-powered teams have the launch to stay in the mix even if they lack the long-game arrow of the top three. Sunday is where the theory of the marathon takes over. While the sprint is about raw aggression, the Grand Prix is about tire thermals and energy life cycle. This is where Ferrari's Macarena wing and its 8 to 9 km per h boost becomes the primary tactical weapon. If the Saturday win was about the engine, the Sunday win will be about aero efficiency. 4. Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen finishes P4. This is a heroic damage control drive. Verstappen will be using every harvesting trick in the 2026 handbook to keep the faster cars behind him. On a circuit with a 1.2 km straight, a P4 for the Red Bull Ford is effectively a win. Max will likely benefit from the dirty air thermal issues of others, using his superior chassis poise to maintain lap times when his battery is drained. He'll beat the second Mercedes on pure racecraft, but the podium remains out of reach until Red Bull finds a way to stop their PU from clipping energy 200 meters before the braking zone. 5. Andrea Kimi Antonelli. P5 goes to Kimi Antonelli. Kimi's race will be a fascinating study in thermal adaptation. He'll likely struggle mid-race when his battery temperatures spike, while following, forcing him to drop back into a 5-second gap to find clean air. This is where he'll lose the place to Verstappen. However, his raw pace on the hard tire in the final 10 laps will be a shock to the paddock as he sets the fastest lap of the race. He's proving the Mercedes W7 is a weapon, but he's still learning how to fire it for 300 kilometers. Lando Norris, P6, and Oscar Piastri, P8, will show that McLaren is consistent but currently lacks the aero efficiency of the top two. Ishaq Hadjar, P7, will bag a brilliant result for Red Bull, proving their reliability is stabilizing. The final points go to Oliver Behrman, P9, who is quickly becoming the best of the rest in the Ferrari, and Gabriel Bortoleto, P10, who will use an aggressive energy-saving strategy to snap the final point for Audi. 4. Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen finishes P4. This is a heroic damage control drive. Verstappen will be using every harvesting trick in the 22,000 handbook to keep the faster cars behind him. On a circuit with a 1.2 km straight, a P4 for the Red Bull Ford is effectively a win. Max will likely benefit from the dirty air thermal issues of others, using his superior chassis poise to maintain lap times when his battery is drained. He'll beat the second Mercedes on pure racecraft, but the podium remains out of reach until Red Bull finds a way to stop their PU from clipping energy 200 meters before the braking zone. 5. Andrea Kimi Antonelli. P5 goes to Kimi Antonelli. Kimi's race will be a fascinating study in thermal adaptation. He'll likely struggle mid-race when his battery temperatures spike while following, forcing him to drop back into a 5-second gap to find clean air. This is where he'll lose the place to Verstappen. However, his raw pace on the hard tire in the final 10 laps will be a shock to the paddock as he sets the fastest lap of the race. He's proving the Mercedes W7 is a weapon.